You have developers, you have landowners, you have attorneys. And I think that we've allowed ourselves to minimize this conversation to just one commodity. And I think that's problematic because it perpetuates a narrative. The other thing is to somewhat of the recent news story as well as the comments tonight. We have cross-utilization in our response methods. So it's either going to be EMS, it's going to be the police, it's going to be the fire department, but they all respond. So we may be short on one end, but there's going to be other resources that will respond. Two, I think that we keep moving the goalposts. This is a good project. And the things that have been addressed were the complaints that were before. And they were addressed, but there are some things that I don't think that can be addressed. And those are some of the environmental concerns regarding wildlife. That's just reality. The other side of that is I grew up around a lot of deer. I grew up in Halifax County, Scotland Neck, and Hobgood, North Carolina. But in this case, if I was having to choose between, and I don't mean to send it in any insensitive way, but we have a housing crisis. And if I have to choose between a deer and a person, then that's what I'm going to do. We have a lot of issues out there, but one thing we can't control is we can't control how many people are moving to this area. It's going to hurt one way or the other. And that is something that we have to mitigate as best as we can and as best as we can within our jurisdiction. There is a matter that I keep hearing. We want affordable housing, but we have every issue with building housing. And that is quite nuanced. And that is something that I think that's the pain point where we have to address. It's almost like me saying, I'm vegan, I don't want to hurt animals because of the climate, but I'm okay with a plane flying the product to me to eat. We have to deal with these nuanced situations at this level, and it is really hard. So if anyone thinks that we don't care, I've said this before, you're wrong. And this is why I've also called on us to meet with the planning department, the planning commission, because right now there is no metric of objectivity. It's opinionated. And as much as I can, I've definitely followed objectivity on this as much as possible. That's why I asked those clarifying questions. So if staff tells me we can handle it, then we can. If they say we can't, then we can't. Staff also drew this line and said, it's not recommended. Now, I don't know whether we can enforce you all to not build until such and such happens. I don't know that. But I try to make my decisions as objective as possible. I wanted to say all of this to say I appreciate what has been done on this project. I think it's one of the best set of proffers that we've seen in a long time, probably one of the best that I've seen. And yet, it's still not going to please folks. It's just not. And that's the reality of it. So I'm going to go with what staff is telling us because that's been my practice. My practice has been follow the objective resources. But I wanted to say to my friends here, I love you all so much. I get everything you're saying, I really do. But one thing we cannot control is there's going to be folks that is going to need a roof over their heads. And we're going to have to find out where we're going to put those things. And one thing we define very well is what we are against in the city and not what we're for. And that goes for us up here too. So I hope that we can find a way forward. I hope that we can find a plan. But I'm so sick and tired of only being against and no dang on plan forward. And I'm so frustrated with that. And it's so easy for someone to disparage someone's character or why we're sitting in this seat. The audacity. It's so easy to be in a house, a beautiful home, and be against someone else having theirs. And that is why I'm frustrated. And that is why this is also so difficult. So I'll follow staff's recommendation on it, but I'm sick of the mess.